In this episode, how good are the Vikings?
Not
Sometimes
that
I do kind of feel bad about spending money during the holidays, but at least I didn't spend $100 million on Kirk Cousins. And pro football is on Saturday. Coming up next.
It's time for the Bookie and the Bettor Show. Live from Baldini's Casino. Beat the Bookie. Make every bet count. Reno's #1 sports radio show is now on streaming platforms. Now, introducing the Bookie, Rob Kowalski, and the Bettors, Randy Wike and Nick Schulte.
Welcome to our final episode of 2024, everybody. I'm your host, Robert Kowalski, joined by my friend, Mr. Nick Schulte.
Hey.
And Mr. Randy Wike is here as well.
I'm back.
So happy to see you again, Mr. Schulte.
Thank you.
And Mr. Wike.
You sound like Mario from the Super Mario Brothers over there.
I'm testing my different dialects for my voiceover career that's going to sprout significantly in 2025.
Dialects.
I like the word sprout.
Okay. I like
it. You know, I did want to actually lead with a few things that we did notice from last week, but Randy, Nick Schulte did something that's a tad bit unorthodox.
I see that.
I took a page out of your book.
I see that. He had a great week, huh?
He chose dogs. It worked for the vast majority of it, but it's see the beauty here, Randy. If you just find the winner, then you get that money line pick and you get the points.
Is that all that needs to be done?
All you needed to do.
God almighty.
You know, nothing that happened
Sounds
just
easy.
off the air before we rolled. Nick, I definitely enjoyed something. You thought it went over my head and certainly went over Randy's head. We talked about birds. Didn't talk about birds specifically, but you said the word avian. And I thought that you should have said avian. Advertisement, I know.
I'm dyslexic. I have a hard time spelling my last name, so I don't. True story. I was taking a midterm in college, and I literally spelled my last name on my test wrong. So.
I never heard. I found it entertaining, at least, to hear the epistemology of flying creatures.
Epistemology? That's talk about overhead.
I never heard them as avian. That's quite.
Isn't that what the
French.
water's named after?
Yes, exactly. Okay. That's avian, though. It's like a
accent. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I forgot the little squiggly line over the top. I don't know what that's called.
Hooty-goo.
All right, so last week, Minnesota, as a 7-point favorite, did cover in their win versus Chicago, 30-12. However, Atlanta, who closed as a 6.5-point favorite, depending on when you got that number, did not cover in a 15-9 win at Las Vegas for Monday Night Football. That was a doubleheader, which was rare. That wrapped up week number 15. Favorites led 12-4 straight up and 10-6 against the spread. And yet, Nick Schulte found the little thread.
Truly,
right through the needle.
a Cinderella
Excellent
story,
job right there.
Yeah.
Road teams.
It was a good week. If Steelers just covered, it would have been a great week.
Yeah,
if they won, it would have been an amazing.
They got kind of. We'll probably touch on them in a little bit. Road teams. 11-5, 9-7 against the spread. Road chalk, however, 7-0 straight up and 6-1 against the spread. Unders 8-7-1 on the year. You might find this interesting, Randy Wike. Favorites improved to 155-66 straight up on the season with 3 pick'ems, but only lead. And here's the beauty, everybody. Again, from a bookmaking perspective, only lead 111-104. And 6 pushes against the spread. That's 51.6%. So if you just blindly close your eyes and say, give me all the minuses, ooh, boy, you are not getting a good return on that investment.
Nope.
And then the final thing that we take a look at is home teams only lead 110-109 straight up with 5 neutral site games. But road teams still lead 116-97-6 against the spread. That's 54.5%. That's winning money. Overs, a slim lead. Dipped to 114, 106-4 against the bookies number.
Well, and the cool thing here is I can actually say this. Ladies and gentlemen, this week is going to be the telling tale for a lot of the NFL teams. And it's going to be, turn out the lights, the party's over. There's going to be a bunch of them go down. You're going to be crying. Some of you fans are going to be crying out there this week because it's going to get ugly.
Let's talk about something that's not quite ugly, but we talked about frauds a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
These teams are all 12-2, gentlemen. The Detroit Lions, The Philadelphia Eagles and the Minnesota Vikings, all 12-2. We did discuss the NFC North fraud alert, which went out. Both of you selected the same team. That was Minnesota. However, Randy, are the Minnesota Vikings NFC Championship bound?
I know right now their defense has been playing lights out, and you got to give Darnold credit. But I still don't think this team is going to be there. I just don't. There's something. I don't know. You're doing it with mirrors or something. No. But I just.
No, listen, they are not doing. Let me explain why I don't think they're doing anything with smoke and mirrors here. At least offensively, Randy. Nick, I mean, Addison on one side, Jefferson on the next. They are simply blowing the tops off of defenses. Pick your poison here, right? The secondary's got to find someone to single team, and it's a 20-yard gain.
Yeah, they're going to burn you every
most
time.
of the time here. And if they actually had a real semblance of a running attack, which doesn't seem like they need to, they've got 12 wins in 14 games. Mm-hmm. Pick one. You must right now. Which of those three you think simply don't have the legs to make it to the NFC Championship?
Well, I know where you're going.
I don't think the Vikings are going to be there either. If I had to place a bet today on the NFC Championship game, it is going to be the Eagles and the Rams.
That says an awful lot for someone with deep roots in the NFC West.
Well, no, but you heard me say it a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, you did.
I said there's just something about the Rams.
Yes.
They're starting to get hot. And how many times do you see that where a team that, I mean, you saw the Titans do it a few times, I feel like. The Jaguars have even done it as well, where nobody really talks about them through the season, and then all of a sudden they kind of get hot week 14, 15. They carry that trend through the playoffs, and then they're one win away from the Super Bowl.
But I will say, and you talked about Darnold and the Viking wide receivers. These Rams wide receivers are the best in the league.
So, Randy, this is perfect. I was actually going to dovetail right into this.
I don't want to go that far.
Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, right? So you've got a pairing there. I'm going to give you another pairing. Just said it 60 seconds ago. Addison and Jefferson. Both of them play for teams that are absolutely in the hunt to win their division. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a real rough ride no matter how you play it out, NFC North or the NFC West. Which of those two teams, the Vikings or the Rams, do you think end up winning their division with 3 weeks left?
Well, Vikings. I still think the Rams are not totally 100% healthy. And again, the Rams defense gives up some points. So again, if you go by what they've done to date,
a whole 6 points in their last game.
Well, I know, but let's be honest.
That hurt. That hurt just me saying that.
So, same question, Nick. If, again, it might not happen for either of them. However, who do you think has a better chance at winning their division, the Rams or the Vikings?
I would go with the Vikings in that. I mean, just looking at mathematically speaking, I want to say, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I do believe Seattle has that tiebreaker.
Yes.
So
they do.
I would say that the Vikings probably win the division. Still doesn't matter. I think Eagles and Rams is your NFC Championship team.
Say that.
Now, again, I do have the Seahawks and Vikings going this week in the 12th man. That's going to be interesting because Seattle hasn't played well.
Yeah, no.
And I was shocked at this line.
And I liked them, the other night at home against Green Bay, but you saw Green Bay came out and took care of business. So
Geno Smith definitely had something to say about that last result, and he actually is questionable as he left the game against Minnesota. So he doesn't play.
Big move.
Yeah, a big move, right? Currently, the Vikings a 3-point favorite on the road in Seattle, the total 43.5.
If he doesn't play, does that go to 6.5 or 9.5?
Oh, too much. But yes, I could definitely sense us leaping the 3.5 quite easily, and then onwards from there. Quarterbacks, it's what kind of drive this league. Which, thank you. Let's move on to our next topic here of our episode. Quarterback changes around the NFL going into Week 16 are pretty significant, Randy Wike. I'm going to call out what I've just read, and then we could go ahead and sit on. Let's just go ahead and sit on the team playing out of Georgia. So, Falcons, Kirk Cousins, now benched. Michael Penix Jr., pick number 8 in the draft, is starting for the foreseeable future.
And I just have a question here, okay? I'm not the sharpest tack on the wall. We all know that.
Yeah, but you have like 3 snowballs, don't you?
Yeah, I do. So here's my question. Cousins has made like $275 million in his career, right? Or if not close to 300.
You could see all the gold chains that he wears. Yeah.
How many teams can be wrong about this guy? I'm being honest. You look at you remember at the beginning of the year, I liked Atlanta as one of those surprise teams, and obviously they haven't lived up to it. But how many teams can be wrong on this guy?
At this point, it seems as if he is having a Matt Ryan precipitous fall off the cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So would you say he's a system quarterback and he just hasn't found the system?
I mean, he struggled against Vegas in the win.
Mm-hmm.
He threw, let's see, he had 3 games left, right? The Falcons are 1 game behind the Bucks.
Was it? I mean, I got to go back and recall it, but I want to say it was a week 6 or 7. But he was lights out.
Yes.
He had 1 week where he couldn't
like
do
500
anything wrong, and ever since then, it's just kind of off.
Well, keep in mind the injuries. That offensive line is horrible, so it's not all on him. Although I think he's well overpaid, but it's not all on him. He doesn't have the team surroundings that can help him get better.
And I would agree with that. And I generally, at this late in the season, I don't read too much into these quarterback changes, because if I'm a head coach, I got to start planning for next year. So I got to say, hey, is my number 8 pick, is he the guy that's ready to step up and
Schulte.
go? Or am I going to start looking back at that draft board, maybe make some trades around?
Nick,
So.
Benching Cousins when you still have a legitimate chance at the postseason is a absolutely fireable offense if things go south. You're 1 game out of the division.
Yeah, but
I get it. Cousins' last 5 games, you kind of pointed to that one blow-up game, but his last 5 games, 9 interceptions to 1 touchdown pass, 100. So against Vegas, 112 yards on 17 pass attempts.
But as a coach, you come out and you say, who is my best option to win? And I don't know that Cousins isn't the best option to win for that team.
Only one way to find out.
I think there's another thing, and we all agree on this, but it's nothing that's measurable and you can't see it. And is that team chemistry. And clearly right now there's something wrong with the Falcons. And whether it's his fault or not, your quarterback generally is the leader of your team. And if the team's not doing well, he's on the hot seat. Right, it's him and the head coach. So as a head coach, you got to make. I mean, hey, we're a decent team. You got some weapons. Let's, and
you still have a shot to get in. So that's the telling tell. Do I go with the rook and build for the future now, or do I still try to put something in to the remainder of this season with the veterans?
I followed the team pretty closely this year, and I think that Kyle Pitts, their masterful tight end, he's just going through the motions. I don't see him being open to it. Yeah. Drake London, he's another one of those that you pop the top off, but it's not a balanced offense, right? Every time he tries to pop the top off, it's a triple team, and then you're leaving. It's just a really weird.
Well, and you got one of the
situation.
best running backs in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Robinson, I love.
He is having a fantastic year, and there's an awful lot that he's doing. So, look, at this point, we just have to wait and see exactly how it plays out. Speaking of...
But if they come out and they win this week...
They're going to win, right? So they're playing the Giants.
And now he's a genius.
They opened as a 10-point favorite. The line move occurred. So we got actually double changes here because the Giants went from Tommy DeVito to Drew Lock. So 2 backup quarterbacks. Well, a third stringer, I guess, for the New York Giants. But New York Giants went from a 10-point dog to a 8.5-point dog off the news of Penix. Some other moves I want to go to, and then we're going to sit on another team. I'll save that one for last in regards to quarterback changes. Browns, Jameis Winston to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. We talked about the Giants. The Titans expected to sit Will Levis for Mason Rudolph. Will Levis, literally, for those of you playing fantasy football, you're probably out of the playoffs if you started him anyway. If you did, you're definitely out of the playoffs because it was a negative number. Sorry, Rob Ginter, I know you're watching. That sucks for you. The Raiders, holding out hope that Aiden O'Connell with his knee could be back this week after starting Desmond Ridder on Monday night. Saints started Jake Hayner this past Sunday. Spencer Rattler finished the game. Could be in a prime position to take over the game this week on Monday Night Football. And then, of course, the team that somehow continues to win despite not scoring 30 points this year. True fact. We'll touch on that in a moment. Patrick Mahomes, high ankle sprain again, remains up in the air. Carson Wentz would start if he can't go.
And how much would he play anyway?
So the line has moved significantly up, down, and then up again. We opened the Kansas City Chiefs as a 4-point favorite on the news that Mahomes is not starting. It went Houston 3.5-point favorite. And here we are once again with Kansas City at this literal moment. We are 3.5 again with a total 42. So, what says you here, Nick? This game here on Saturday, by the way, at 1 o'clock here on Pacific here at Baldini's Casino. 3.5 in the total 42. We went full circle, and we're back to where we started. Looks like Mahomes is starting.
So Chiefs are getting 3.5.
It was 3.5 at one point about 2 days ago. So they started 3.5, became a 3.5-point dog, and we're back to where we started, all off of Mahomes.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's worth 6 points.
6 points spread.
Thank you.
I mean, one touchdown. Okay. If the Chiefs were a dog, I'd take them all day long on the money line.
Had a chance,
but yeah, I'm not touching that one. Chiefs are going to win though.
Randy Wike.
It doesn't matter who starts. Chiefs.
I like the Chiefs big in this one. This is one of my picks this week. Again, this defense wants to try to build. They've been hammered lately by the media. They're at home. And again, this is resting week. After this week, let him rest. But I think he plays. I think this defense comes up big for the Chiefs this week, and I like them. And you know, I know we're going to probably talk about it, but some of these lines with some of the games last week, and then you're looking at some of these spreads, you're going, this has trap written all over.
There's
you
that
sportsbook guys. You sportsbook guys.
We will get to all these games. I do have one final note that I wanted to get on with Kansas City. This is the absolute oddest thing that I've ever witnessed. Every team has scored 30 points this year, right? It's not that many points, except for the following. The Jets, no, you did. You just did score.
Yeah, Aaron just got him there. Yeah, 32.
Over 30.
Yeah.
New England, you have not scored 30 points. You are 3-11. Vegas, no, you have not scored 30 either. You are now 2-12. And New York Giants, you also have not scored 30. You probably can't score 30 if you play 3 straight games. You are also 2-12. You want to hear the strangest stat of the year? At 13-1, the Kansas City Chiefs have not scored 30 points yet this year.
But they know how to win games.
So, Randy, let's go ahead and revisit this because I do want to touch on these Saturday games here. I know we're going to get to this Thursday night game tonight as well. However, Kansas City, Houston, both teams clearly still jockeying heavily for playoff position. Randy, where is your position here on against the spread here?
Well, I like the Chiefs to cover. I think this is a statement game this week for the Chiefs because they're at home. I really do look for them to really blow them out. Timing
is everything, Randy. As we're recording this show, the numbers you could have had, however, you are back to where we started. It's just the way of programming. I don't make the rules, Randy Wike. You're laying 3.5.
But the total is really kind of questionable here.
Tell me why. It's 42.
42 with a spread of 2.5. Is it 42 now?
3.5.
Or 41.5.
40. Oh, your live number. That's what we go off of.
Yeah.
42. And Kansas City's laying 3.5.
I just think the Chiefs come out and win this game 31-13.
Okay, that's a lot of points. That's a cover.
So they will
spread.
They will score 30.
Yes, they scored 30 this week.
Can we get an all prop bet on that?
I will actually like that for everyone to just hear, as we literally just said, they are the only team not to score 30. Why am I doing this? I'm doing a Tommy DeVito. They just went off without scoring 30 points. And Randy says not only will they cover, they will cover an alt spread if you want it. They will also break this insane statistical
Every squirrel
streak.
finds an acorn.
Acorns? Sure.
Yeah.
Randy, thank you. Nick, a position here on Kansas City?
Like I said,
no cover?
I would take Kansas City if they were the dog. If they were, if it was a pick, I might take Kansas City. I don't like the 3.5.
Okay, that's a pass. Let's go right back to where we started actually here with tonight's game. two teams still absolutely vying for their positions as well. Thursday night football here. The line, the LA Chargers, 2.5, a little bit of juice here. The total 42 again at the book at Baldini's. Randy, a position here on Herbert, who does look healthy enough to start. Looks like we're going to probably settle in. I don't think it's getting to 3, but 2.5 is what you're laying.
Well, let's face it, the Broncos, they've played above their heads this year. He's actually done a great job with that team. But the Chargers were embarrassed last week. They are at home. When you look in the NFL and you look at a home team playing at home that was annihilated the week before, you always go with that team at home in the NFL. I did
that a few weeks ago with Atlanta against Minnesota.
Oh.
Kirk Cousins coming off his worst game of his career.
Yeah.
They were getting 6.5 points, and I think they lost by 21.
Well,
if I remember correctly. 20.
I really like the Chargers a lot.
Chargers laying 2.5 here for Randy Wike. Nick, can I perhaps talk you into catching 2.5 on the road on a Thursday night football game? The Denver Broncos.
No, you cannot. The Chargers is one of those teams. They burned me 3 times so far this year, so I'm staying away. Broncos, I think their defense, they should win this game. They should cover. But Thursday games, they're on the road, too much stuff. Not touching it.
This is okay. This is a safe place. You can pass on games. Yeah. I'm perfectly fine with that, but I do understand your perspective at the very least.
I'm trying to get back to a winning record over here. You know?
Well, you're doing well. You had a career last week.
Actually, yeah, dude, let me go ahead and actually press on that because there is some detail that we do need to discuss in regards very specifically to what Nick's selections were. They were
I've had
good.
a bad last couple of weeks.
It was a week where Nick went 5-2 against the spread. We talked about those picks where he went money line on the dogs plus the points. So he took the Rams, the Steelers, the Bills, and then the Bengals laying the 5, which was another very good spot for him. Nick is now 40, 37-2 against the spread going into week 16. Randy Wike 30, 28-1.
Yeah, that's wrong.
This is
where
wrong. Well, actually, no, it's right. It's black and
it's
white.
wrong.
It's empirically right there in front of me. But
it's wrong.
It's wrong, perhaps subjectively.
Yeah.
We need a challenge flag we can throw.
Yeah, I just
you could go to the tape. I mean, Chris is here. He's got everything. I mean, all the archives are there for us if we want to go ahead and review.
That's just wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Wrong.
Okay. Onwards to the other game.
I've been in the hospital. I should be getting a break on some of these games.
Yeah, you've got 2 games above 500.
Okay, there you go. Okay, there you go.
Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens on Saturday Night Football. Book of Baldini's has the Ravens as a 6.5-point favorite. The total 45. Randy, let's go ahead and start with you here. 10-4 Pittsburgh. This is where that part of the schedule really starts to get bottlenecked for Pittsburgh. We find out if they're for real or not. 6.5 points, quite a bit. Let's hear how you see this.
Now, again, I'm going back to game 1 with these two. This made Wike's blunders. One of the dumbest things I've ever seen is the 2-point conversion that the Ravens ran.
Right.
When they don't go to his throwing, it was an RPO, don't go to his throwing hand. They run left with no intention of trying to throw it, to run it. Quite naturally, they didn't get it. It made Wike's blunders that week. One of the dumbest coaching calls I've ever seen.
Wike's blunders.
Mr. Harbaugh, that was dumb. I like the Ravens here. Again, that's
you think they got like the sign wrong or something?
Well, no, but
week 1.
I know people are against me on this. Lamar, I think, has to better himself in this game. And let's face it. I mean, both of these teams are battling. They're both going to be there. So I like the Ravens, but I like them to win. Money line, no, not cover the spread.
Okay, so how can
You're taking the Ravens at minus 270.
Yeah, how can I talk you into taking the Steelers plus 6.5 in that case?
You're not going to get that from Randy Wike this week.
I'll
take the Ravens at minus 6.5.
Okay, wait, what happened there?
Way to close it.
Well, I just wanted to let people know where my heart is and where my mind is this week.
Fair enough. So, in that case, laying 6.5. Very good. Nick Schulte.
Well, looking at last week, you can see how I feel about the Steelers.
More?
I would like to look at – this is one of those games where I'd like to look at what is the historical matchup between Lamar and the Steelers, because I feel like the Steelers win more often than not.
It's always a close
Lamar.
game. If you go back, I was just looking at this the last 9 years. I mean, these teams are within 3 or 4 points every game.
Yeah, that's stay.
And you just took
9
them at
years,
6.5?
yeah.
I did.
And he laid 6.5, but it's close.
Because I really do think this. Number one, they're going to be coming after Mr. Wilson. They're going to be coming.
Okay.
And because of the Wike blunders in the first game, they're going to rebound. You got that, ladies and gentlemen? They're going to rebound.
I'm going to go the other way, just because you brought up a good point. The Ravens' defense has just not been all that this year. If you look at some of their ratings, they're lowest in the league. I mean, really, everything is built around Lamar in that offense. So I think a veteran like Russell Wilson with the Steelers, we'll take the Steelers with the points.
Now, what did I see? Russell has won 6 games in a row
Something like that.
as a quarterback with his teams versus the Steelers.
They're 10-4
I thought
on
that's-
the season.
No, but I mean in past history against the Ravens.
Right.
Head-to-head.
That would be played for whether it was
I mean,
Seattle or-
he's averaging 332 yards passing or something.
Ooh,
It's a high number.
I need a new quarterback for this week in fantasy.
He tends to get big yards against these guys.
I'm going to just pat myself on the back and be happy that I got you take opposite sides of the point spread again. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to...
He just likes this.
I do. I really.
Almost
I
said
feel
a
like
bad word
I've
there.
accomplished it. Like if Chris said that we're stopping the episode right here, I could pat my.
Perfect.
I did it. I did it again.
Way to go, Chris.
Washington is hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles 12-2, as we mentioned at the top of our show. A 3.5-point favorite. The total's 45.5 in Washington. There was a couple of missteps with the Commanders, but definitely seemed like they have righted the ship against lesser. Randy, you first here with the Eagles laying 3.5 on the road.
This is another one of the lines that shocked me a little bit. No question, Washington's, they lucked out last week, but they're playing decent. But the Eagles are the best in the NFL right now. If you go the past 5-6 weeks, there's nobody better than the Eagles. And, all the right or wrong that was going on with Coach Sirianni now has probably turned to blossoms because he's winning. I don't understand this line. I would think the Eagles would be 5.5-point favorites. They're playing the best in the NFL.
Well, remember, you get about 2.5 points for being the home team. So.
Well, yeah, but even so, I'm thinking on top of that, you get 2 or 3 points depending on the home field advantage. This Eagles team is the best team in the NFL right now.
Nick Schulte, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and A.J. Brown definitely got fed pretty well in this last game. Does this mean yet another victory and a cover for the Eagles?
Yes.
Simple enough.
Some about it makes it a little nervous, but yeah, I think the Eagles win it, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a push at 3.
However, you're laying 3.5. Can I
whoa,
frame
whoa,
this?
Whoa! I got to get better sheets over here.
No. That's opening lines. You have to understand that's what happens every once in a while. You got to ask the ticket writer at the counter, may I please see the updated lines, or look up at the board and see that it says minus 3.5.
3.5, not touching it.
We are not playing
Pull
this
it back.
game.
Pull it back.
I got it.
Okay. So, fair enough. Look at what happens when you just add a little hook to a key number that happens to land 18% of the time. I'm going to go ahead and skip that game then. I'm perfectly fine with that. Perfect. Let's take a look at a game here that means an awful lot for one and an awful little for another. Rams and Jets in the afternoon. We've got...
Have you watched the Jets play at all this year? Or?
They were filled with all kinds of vigor against... Well, it was not really good team, but they won. They scored a lot of points.
I'm serious. Aaron Rodgers should be wearing the George Blanda high shoes. Don't you think?
The leather helmet?
Wait.
Yeah.
First off, who's George Blanda?
Oh, one of the greatest players ever, NFL Hall of Fame.
Did the NFL
Oakland
exist
Raiders
back then? Or was
Yeah.
it? Okay.
He could quarterback, he could kick, but he used to wear kind of like John Unitas, high tops.
He was the Otani of football.
Yeah. Get your high tops out, Aaron. You need them, buddy.
So
For my time.
laying the 3 with the Rams?
No. Here's another line I don't.
What just happened?
Well, here's another line I don't understand.
I'm right there with you because I don't.
How can this game only be 3?
What do you know that we don't?
Yeah. What do you bookies know?
You're saying that the 3 is too short then?
Yeah.
I think it should be 6.5. If I had to guess, if you just asked me what's the line between Rams and Jets, I would say 6.5. Maybe.
You're saying that it should be double what I currently have listed at 3 and minus 120.
My pick for the week is going to be, hey, I'll take him at -3, and then I'll do an alt point spread at -6.5 as well too. So I'll get some extra juice in there.
I like what you're doing there. Now, is it supposed to be bad weather?
I'm not telling you anything anymore. How about that?
Well, I'm
if you
trying
think
to.
I'm that dead wrong,
I'm
you
trying
look up
to
your own information
I'm
on
trying
weather.
to understand from you guys.
It
you
can't. I mean,
sports guys.
total's 47. You wouldn't
Yeah.
see that
Use
total that
guys.
high.
Hey, use guys.
Yeah, use guys, use sportsbook guys. How can this line only be 3?
Okay, so you're saying that you're laying the 3.
I'm not touching the
Big.
game.
Okay.
You're saying that there's a trap,
I think there's a trap.
and yet you won't lay it. If you're saying that it's way too short, that
Well-
you're not going to walk into that.
Randy Wike hasn't been real good with the traps lately, so Randy Wike's not taking a trap here.
Okay, so for those of you listening or watching us here on YouTube, we have one person that felt that the line was so wrong that he's going to alt spread it, and the other person, Randy Wike, says
But use
that this
guys,
line,
use guys did
guys,
this, yeah.
us guys,
Yeah,
with a Z,
yeah.
we're so off on the number that it should. How could it only be 3? However, you're not playing it because it's a.
Trap.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I love this show.
yeah.
Money in the bank.
Don't you agree?
Okay,
I
so
took
it's
a
a
second
non-play
hour.
then. Very good. I'm going to leave this. Here's dealer's choice to end our episode. Randy, one other game that I did not discuss that you found to be such a great spot that you want to use as your selection here this week in week 16.
You know, my health hasn't been good, so I've been betting the last couple of weeks. But I've already bet twice this week on the Raiders. And I know they've lost 10 in a row. Raiders come back this week and win. And I know it's a shocker. Again, there's another – I can't believe the lines went the other way because
Hold on
Jaguars
now.
were
Hold
in
on.
favor.
You have to understand what the line is right now.
What is it?
It is 1.5 Raiders.
I love the Raiders.
Raiders -1.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, I got 'em
Raiders
at-
are the favorite here. 1.5. That's our current line.
I got them
number.
at Pick'em.
When
and
was
minus
the
one.
last time the Raiders were a favorite in a
That's
game?
what I'm saying. This win. Just win, baby. Just win. Commitment to excellence.
Have you seen the Raiders play
Well, yeah, I am.
this century?
Yeah. It's commitment to excellence. Yeah.
Okay, hold on, Randy.
I guess we're both betting with our hearts in this last game.
This is just the way
Yeah.
the way this episode's ending is perfection. First off, yes, I want the Raiders to win. Go to your 3 wins on the season so that the Giants can get the number 1 overall pick, and we could talk about that all off season.
Who are you guys going to get this time?
Sanders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I get, but that's later down the road. It's going to be a beautiful off season, I'm sure. That or they'll just trade away everything and just implode the whole entire. Okay, anyway,
Kind of the whole-
1.5, Randy Wike. You're laying 1.5 with the Raiders, a 2-win franchise. You're laying 1.5 to the
I bet them
Jacksonville
twice
Jaguars.
this week already. Commitment to excellence.
Nick Schulte. I don't know how I would. I'm giving you, again, this is dealer's choice. You don't have to play this. However, is there a position that you'd like to make on the Jaguars and Raiders, or skip it and talk to me about something else?
I'm going to skip it, but I will have to say when I looked at it, I was a little shocked at the line, Raiders being favorites. I thought the Jaguars looked not half bad last week.
Mac Jones.
I mean, yeah. He's a former Alabama guy, so, I mean, didn't he start over Hurts at one point?
Max Crosby, big week, baby. Big week.
Okay. So, but like I was saying, I think we're both betting with our hearts because the one game that I like this week, I like Niners money line currently. What you want to give me the current line since clearly the ones I have over here.
What was our, okay, how about let's start like this. What is our opener?
Never make the first offer in business.
What does our sheet say at Baldini's? What did we open the
Dolphins -2, Niners +1.
I'm going to give you a disappointing number here to end the show. Not as disappointed as you expect it to be. However, it is pick.
Okay.
It is pick.
I'll take Niners pick 'em.
I like that.
I think they come back. They had a horrible week. The one thing I think we could all say if you're a Niners fan is Brock Purdy does not do well in the weather. But I do think they come back. I think there was a little, I don't know if you guys saw it too much, but some stuff happened in the third quarter with guys refusing to play. And a great stat. And again, I can't even remember the player's name that walked off the field, but he started every game, I believe, so far this year. He has 0 games with 8+ tackles. Dre Greenlaw, the guy that replaced him, has only played one half of one game, and he's had 8 tackles in that one half.
And he's banged up this week.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he's the guy that got hurt running onto the field in last year's Super Bowl. Tore his ACL, right?
Yes. I would probably just leave this with it doesn't play into this matchup. However, the one stat that I did find with Mike McDaniel, not so much the Dolphins, we could go and just look at Mike McDaniel's career as a head coach. Against teams with a 500 record or higher, Randy Wike, he has a record of 3-15. Inexcusable is what I wrote down. Now, again, does it play into here? Niners not above 500. Still a chance to finish that way. However,
and they all
keep that in mind.
Used to coach together too, if I remember correctly.
That is, yes.
Think about this. You're getting a lot of pressure now on Shanahan. The 49er fans and boosters are unhappy, and you've got possible trades out there. I seen one last night. The Bears trading Williams, picking up Shanahan. But again, I do want to say that at the very beginning of the year, I said Caleb Williams was overrated. He had a horrible year last year at USC, and we make him the first pick, or you teams make him the first pick. He's not deserving of it. But now to get all of this, Shanahan's a great coach. He really is. But he's getting hammered right now by media, boosters, and fans.
He's a great coach to an extent, but his records in Super Bowls are not great. If you remember, he was the offensive coordinator, I believe, for the Atlanta Falcons. And remember what happened in that game?
But remember this, ladies and gentlemen. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to get there to live it.
That's true.
He's got
that.
That. True. He's got it.
So I got one more pick for you. I think the Lions are going to absolutely destroy the Bears, -7 all day.
I'm going to make you very happy to end this show, however.
Down to 4.5 now?
I'm not that happy. 6.5.
Okay. Yeah.
6.5. So speaking of the Chicago Bears, boy, oh boy, imagine if they took Jaden Daniels instead of Caleb Williams.
Well,
how different this
now
team would
the
look
big
right
thing
now.
this week.
I don't know what people saw because I looked at the guy and I just fraud alert. I've been saying it all since beginning of last season.
Back to April when they were drafting.
Yeah, he's not. He didn't have a good year last year.
People that talk about themselves before showing it on the field, they're never going to, in my opinion.
University of Nevada picked off 3 passes, didn't he, from him? Mm-hmm. 2 or 3.
Randy, you are going with Kansas City.
I got one more crazy prediction, not really too much with football, but more back in the college world. In 2025, I think Bill Belichick gets Archie Manning off the transfer portal. I don't even know if that's possible. I got a gut feeling.
Oh, Arch Manning?
That if I'm Bill Belichick and I'm sitting back there and I got a chance to basically take Tom Brady's kryptonite and mold him into a quarterback of my own, and then follow him into the NFL, and then win another 7 or 8 championships, and then there's no dispute who is the best. Was it Brady or was it Belichick? So I think
well, he didn't
Belichick's
do
playing
good
a
with
long
Mac
game.
Jones. He didn't do good with that bad.
Yeah, no, I can say
but
that.
The lines this week are deceiving. You have to admit they're deceiving for some of the games and
Randy,
the blowouts.
My job is to deceive you.
Use guys again.
Use guys
again.
I simply put these numbers out and I let you guys decide if I'm right or wrong. You're saying that I am horribly wrong here in Week 16.
Well, just on this Lions game. And again, from just thought, speculation on it. Lions have 17 guys out.
Yes, maybe even more.
And you think that Campbell's going to bench people, and you think Dan Campbell's the type of guy to pull back?
He's hot.
Yeah, exactly.
After their performance last week,
100%.
he's hot. And he said when they came out, guys didn't come to the field to play today. So
I think University of Nevada could probably beat the Bears team right now.
They could.
So.
We would put some heat on Caleb Williams.
Didn't they pick him off 3 times?
Yeah, Nevada University. Wolfpack. Look it up.
Wait, why are you telling our listeners to look it up? You should look it up. Why are you telling them to Google it?
It was either 2 or 3.
They're not here to Google. They're not here to do work.
And
They're
that was
here
a
to get
game
stats
one.
from us.
Now, granted, they won big, but okay, Nevada defense got
3 picks.
they got ingested into him. They got him.
Won the battle, lost the war.
Yeah.
You've all waited for this final moment. I'm going to go ahead and circle these final picks
Ooh, big time.
for our episode here, wrapping up NFL Week 16. Randy, Kansas City 3.5. The Chargers 2.5. The Ravens 6.5, and the Eagles 3.5. Nick, you've got 5. The Steelers, the Rams. The Rams on an alt spread, so I'm counting that as a second pick. The Niners and the Lions. Gentlemen, as this is our final episode of calendar year 2024, may I wish you both a wonderful time. We'll see each other once again come 2025 for a
Merry
brand
Christmas.
new season of the Bookie and the Bettors show.
Oh, yeah.
Chris will go ahead and just denote what season we're in. I just feel like we just keep on going and adding more and more content to our friends and families here in Northern Nevada and beyond. For my best of friends here at Baldini's Casino, I'm your host, Robert Kowalski. Hope you have a wonderful holiday season, a really great end of the year. See you again on our fresh new episodes to start off 2025. Randy Wike, Nick
Thank you.
Schulte.
Thanks, guys.
Happy holidays.
Thank you for listening to the Bookie and the Better Show. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and be the first to know when new episodes drop. Hit that subscribe button and join us.